Hello, book besties.
I'm Albie.
And I'm Nikki,
Welcome to Backstage with the Book Babes.
where we spill the tea on the secret lives of your favorite romance authors. Hello, we can't wait to introduce you to the amazing paranormal romance author with us today. But first off, how's everything been going with you, Albie?
It's going really good, actually. I'm just starting to put up episodes of my new romance that's coming out in February on Ream. It's called The Wrong Piece. It is a roller derby coach and a speed puzzler, and they are, and it's super cute. It's like fake dating, and his grandma's involved. I mean, it is fantastic. I'm really excited about this one. I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah.
Is she like a spicy grandma? I love a spicy grandma.
Well, so what happened is, I'll give you the details before everyone else knows, obviously. So this speed puzzler is very much about like online competition. She's like, it's opening up the doors for all these people. And she has a rival in her little chapter who is like, no, it should only be in-person speed puzzling competitions. And it turns out that the guy that she's liked for a long time, who asked her to be his fake date, is her rival's grandson. And so that's a huge thing. And then the grandma's like, I'm going to try to break them up. So I'm going to keep inviting them to dinner so I can keep haranguing this girl until she breaks up with my grandson. But really, she's just driving them together because they're not actually dating. And so they keeps throwing them together in these dating situations.
Forced proximity.
Forced proximity. Yeah. And so it's really funny because grandma's plans keep backfiring. And
Nice.
I'm just having a really good time writing it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about you, Nikki? What are you up to?
So one fun thing I got to do this week was we're recording today. It's a Saturday. On Thursday night, I went to this. It was a book signing, but it was two musicians. It's Chantal Kreviazuk and Rain Maida. He's from Our Lady Peace. They're both Canadians, but I think they're fairly well known around. But I've been to both of their concerts back when I was in university. Like they were both really big back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they wrote a book, but it's a memoir. So they're married. They've been married since 1999. Like they've been together a really long time. So they wrote about their love story that happened with the background of rock star romance. And I was like, this is amazing because this is really an in real life rock star romance. So it was really cool to go and see. And they were really funny. Like they had like some banter going on. They had another author / influencer who was doing the interviewing. It was for the Gritlit Festival, which is a book festival in my area in Hamilton. But yeah, it was really cool. They were bantering off each other, teasing each other. And then I got my book signed and took a picture with them. So that was really fun. That's what I did on Thursday night. And it really made me want to write a rock star romance, though, which is like, you know, I have 150 projects. But I did have a rock star romance planned. So my recent release, Wrangled by the Stars, the cowboy celebrity, and the female main character is the celebrity. So she's one of the best friends of the main character from my first hockey romance book. Her other best friend is a musician, and I always planned for him to have a rock star romance story. So I don't know, maybe that'll come sooner than I was expecting, but we'll see how it goes.
Are we going to release our rock star romances at the same time again?
Are you now writing a rock star romance too?
I'm halfway through one, but it's a dark rock star romance. And he did something super unforgivable, and I'm not sure how I'm emotionally going to come back from it. So I had to like put it on pause. But if you are doing one, I can go to therapy and try to get over this.
Okay, well, we can plan. How about we plan a release date together, and then you can go to therapy and we can figure it out.
Yeah, perfect. Love that.
Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, that's what's going on with us. But we're very excited to introduce you to Day S. Grant, a huge book babe. Welcome to you, Day.
Hey. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, glad we could have you on with us.
Yeah, we're super happy to have you on. So I guess to get started, you got to tell us a little bit about your books. Since paranormal romance encompasses a huge range of subgenres, can you tell us a little bit about the specific type of paranormal romance you write?
Well, I write good ones. But I have currently 2 different worlds that I'm writing in. And one of them is probably best described as pet shifters. So in the past, pets fused with their owners to save them. So, you know, you have like a Border Collie shifter. You have a Canary shifter. You have a turtle shifter. You have all sorts of different pets, and they don't actually shift into the animal. They're more of that half shift where like if
Okay.
you're a cat shifter, you get like a mini muzzle and your ears move up and you get fur and you get your tail, but you still fit in your clothes.
Okay.
So they're very humanoid. So that's one world. And the other world, I have a psychic matchmaker who
Nice.
is secretly matchmaking different paranormals. So each book in the series focuses on a different type of paranormal that she's matchmaking with someone. And she's a wee bit voyeuristic. So she doesn't just watch them meet. She throws parties with her friends for the big finale.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
So those are the two worlds I'm writing.
So cool.
It's
Yeah.
a peeping psychic is what you call that.
That's my mystical matchmaker who's a little nosy is what I say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. Voyeurism in romance is one of my favorite things to write and to read. So I absolutely adore that. So cool. And then how did you decide on shifters that you wanted to do? Like, how did you come up with the idea of shifting into pets, but having that humanoid body? Because I've never seen that before.
This is one of those weird things where like your mind just does things where for a lot of my book ideas, not all of them, but a lot of them come from a dream. And I had dreamed the kiss scene in the first book of that series. And then I was like, but what's special about these people? And there's also some magic in that shifter world. And he had this magic. And it was just like, oh, well, her friend's a cat hybrid. I call them hybrids because they don't do the full shift. I think some of it probably had to do with the fact I had just adopted my first pet. And so pets were probably on my mind. But, you know, and why were they more humanoid rather than on four paws? That's just how I imagined them. Like, they came fully formed. It was just like, here they are. Oh, wow. Okay. Didn't even think it was weird or unusual, you know, different from other things until I was looking for comps, like which books were similar to mine. And I was like, none of them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Honestly, I feel like the idea of shifting straight into those animals, though, is a little more modern because back in older literature and stuff, like werewolves, a lot of them were, you know, people, but with the wolfy kind of
like
hair and
Wolfman
features and stuff. Yeah, the Wolfman. Yeah, exactly. So maybe you're just going back to the classics.
Yeah.
Just putting a twist on it.
Yeah. Well, I think too, because I've seen the drawings of your characters, and it always makes me think of. Did you ever watch the animated version of like Robin Hood? Yeah. See how cute they are? It always makes me think of like how in like a lot of my friends, their first crushes was like this like fox Robin Hood, and like they're like humanoid kind of animals, and like, I'm like just it's like bringing that childhood into adulthood because we are that age where that's our nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I definitely, you know, I remember that. I mean, Zootopia was more recent. But all of those, and I may have been a little pet obsessed when I was a kid. My most frequently checked out book from the library was the Encyclopedia of Dog Breeds. So, you know, being a bit more pet focused is a thing.
For sure. Yeah. My daughter's like that with cats, but when I was a kid, it was horses. So I would have had the Encyclopedia of Horses. Yeah. Literally, I had one book called that.
I didn't get into horses really until middle school when I started writing.
Nice. Yay. I feel like though, once a horse girl, always a horse girl, like forever, really. You might not do it. I don't do it right now, but I'll probably eventually go back to it.
Yeah, they always hold a special place in your hearts.
Yeah. That's the one thing I never got into. I got into zebras, but not horses. I don't know why. I think I missed that part of my whole childhood.
There's still time. My sister-in-law recently started horseback riding as an adult, you know?
Yeah. I'll have to put it on my list of things to do.
Yes. Add it to the list. Every week the list gets longer. Never gets shorter.
No.
So you're talking about your adorable character art. How did you go about picking the artist to bring those characters to life?
Well, it was tricky. And the main thing I focused on is, frankly, a lot of artists can do humans. So I have great humans, but this was, even though these are my book one characters, they didn't get done first. I was like, let's try something harder. So I knew my book two characters are a turtle hybrid and a Pomeranian hybrid, and they were going to be a lot more difficult. And so I was really trying to look at artists who had, animal type characters.
Mhm.
And before I realized it, I was like getting deep into furry art.
Yeah.
Because that is the closest analog that you're going to find when you're looking for artists. And I was having so much trouble actually contacting the artists that I had found and saved because I found them on Pinterest and they were old. And so then I started really working on Instagram. And I came across an artist that a friend had used, and they did have a couple like dog human characters. And I was like, let's see how you do with a reptile.
Nice.
And it worked out really well. I need to get a few more characters for the upcoming books.
Yeah. Well, if you need help finding artists in the furry community, let me know, because I happen to know through a friend several. So
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You've got the hookups.
Yeah.
You always have the hookups.
You just keep meeting different people in this lifestyle that we are living, and you're like, how do I know no accountants and 3 people in the circus? I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's the author life. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. I was just at an event and people had a lot of not safe for work art. In fact, half the time there was a big penis staring at me while at this event. I obviously went over and looked at it.
Comment.
But do you also have not safe for work art that you're doing or you're wanting to do with your characters?
I do not. One of the things that you'll find when you read my books is that my characters only have sex in their human forms. That's one of the ways I'm getting around explaining hybrid genitalia.
Okay.
What and how do they work together?
Mm-hmm.
But I am definitely not opposed to seeing like fan art.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'd be awesome.
Fan art would be great.
That's how you know you've made it. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
fan art.
It's one of the things on the list. Yeah. Fan art.
Love that. Yeah, totally. So you said you're writing series for both of your different books.
Mhm.
Are they all interconnected, each one, or can they be read in any order? What do you recommend?
So my Mavens with the pet shifters are they should be read in order. They really build, and they will have a through line for the main of the series. They're just each book is still its own couple, but there is a common thing they're trying to do in the books
Gotcha.
that kind of carries through. In each book, they make progress on it.
Mm-hmm.
For my mystical matchmaker series, A Demon Sandwich and Vampire Lubes is what I have out right now. They are interconnected but complete standalones. So
Okay.
you can read them in any order. You can just grab one. These ones are on KU. Otherwise, I'm wide. So
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome.
And
Oh, and I also happen to have a cozy mystery in the pet shifter world that's interconnected,
Nice.
but can be read separately or with. Yeah.
and we got Simon here now.
Simon's making a cameo today. Hey, Simon.
Yeah.
Are you a good boy?
And then how spicy would you say your works are? Like, are all the books equally spicy or?
So obviously it's always super subjective. Like, so I
Mhm.
like to have 2 scales where there's the absolute no spice to like, erotica. And
Mhm.
I would put myself at like a 3 to 4 there.
Okay.
But if you're talking about spicy books of like, it is spicy to super spicy, I'm like a
Mhm.
1 to
Yeah.
2. Like I am
Gotcha.
a lower spice. I've had a reviewer call my demon sandwich with a menage because, sandwich,
Yeah.
vanilla.
Huh.
And when I thought about it, I was like, it's a short book. So
Mhm.
it's like the scene is like 40% of the book. And I was like, but it was about as vanilla as you could be for that.
With multiple people. Yeah.
But for my Mavens books, they're a little chunkier. They're open door, explicit,
Mhm.
but you generally get like 1 scene, maybe 2. So
Okay.
I write books with a lot of plot. Like I've actually
Mhm.
gotten reviews on my short mystical matchmaker series where it's like I don't think I've read a book this short that had plot. And I was like, oh yeah, it's not all about the spice. It's not all about that. There's things going on.
Yeah. That's the hard thing, especially like with shorter books, because I have a couple of shorter ones under a different name that I don't usually talk about. And it's like the plot is like so light that I often make the joke of like the positions are the plot.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's hard to balance. And like you said, it's so subjective because if you are reading a lot of like really dark, kinky stuff, then you're like, oh, well, a menage is like nothing.
Yeah.
But if you are like reading more like lighter, softer books, then you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's a
Oh,
challenge.
I'll have to share this because we're talking about the spice levels. So my mom, someone in her book club read a Demon Sandwich. And now you have to understand, I've heard about this book club for years. And I think my mom is the youngest person in the book club. And the book club is at church. And so, and the woman came back and said it was a little bit racy. Like, I don't know how to take that, but like, yeah, that
Oh my
book
goodness.
that she wrote was a little racy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I never hear this word anymore when describing, but oh my gosh, fantastic. What a great review.
Love it.
Mhm.
Although, yeah, it's awkward.
You could just put
Yeah, I have
mom's friends book clubs
been like,
then.
yes. Oh, that'd be such a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, because I have
Well, add in
coworkers and stuff and
church
they've
book
read
club.
it, and it's always, then you have to look them in the eye. That's the thing. Like if you meet this book club and now you're like, that they've imagined that scene that was in your head and they know that you imagined that scene.
But I also know they chose to pick up my book.
There you
Going
go. You got
into
the
it,
power
they
in the
knew what they were
relationship.
getting into. It's like, you're
Yeah.
into these things too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All
Can you
learn a
hear
little
me?
bit of new things about ourselves.
Right? And the people you know.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. And then, like, because these are series, how much planning ahead did you go into it before you started publishing?
Well, before I started publishing, so these are not the first books I've written. So I do
Okay.
have manuscripts in the trunk.
Mhm.
And I really like writing books. Editing and polishing is a lot more difficult for me. And that means that I have several book ones waiting for future edits and publications. And I sat there for the first series before I chose to go with the Mavens, the Pet Shifters, and asked myself, what series did I want to spend the next 5 to 8 years living in? And what of the ones I had written so far did I feel was most representative of the type of books I would be writing? And I was like, I'm probably going to be a majority paranormal romance author or have fantasy elements. Not always, but they'll also be romance, probably always. And so it, was thinking about that. But when I was writing this first book, Touchy Talents, I was making notes about all the side romances, all the other characters, and I have a list of like 13 or 14. And that was getting a little daunting because I have other series I want. And so I did sit down and look at what I was working with, and I found 5 or 6 that have a through line that really focus on a series plot. And I was like, okay, we'll focus on this series plot set. And then I can go work on other books and other series. But for the Mavens, I mostly mapped out, what the romances pairings would be. And then as I got more information about what each book really needed to focus on for the art, whereas for the mystical matchmakers, first off, I kind of did these not on purpose. These had a lot less thought put into them before I started. Did a writing exercise from like a craft book. And then I did another one and I was like, so one of them was to write a POV from a character, but you don't know which character it is. So my 2 demons, when you're in their POV, you don't know really who's talking or if they're both talking or how that works. And then the second one was write a POV of someone who's not in the scene. And so she became voyeuristic.
Yeah.
And for this one, I just made a list of all the different paranormal creatures. and different subgenres as well. So like a demon sandwich is demons, obviously, but it's also a boss secretary, workplace romance.
Okay. Yep.
And then Vampire Lube is vampires, which I had said I would never write, but my vampires are different. They're middle-aged vampires. They're not, younger. They're up there in their years. They should have already found their perfect partner. And so they have some of those things going on as well. But, I also have a single mom romance coming up and a mountain man one. And so I kind of just looked at everything and was like, let's go for it and like do little tasters in all of them.
Nice. Love that.
Love that.
Personally, I think everybody wants to write a vampire romance. I always say that. All of us have a vampire romance somewhere in the back of our heads, whether we want to admit it or not.
Well, for me, I've always had problems with the age gap. Age gap isn't my cup of tea. And the vampires so often have a big age gap you have to wonder about.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, why is that 200-year-old vampire dating that 20-year-old woman? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I actually read a book recently and it dealt with this very well because I feel the same way. It's like, well, you're 300 years old. Why would you really want to date an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
But I read one recently. He was 200 years old and she was in her mid-20s, maybe late 20s even. But he explained it that the type of paranormal that he is, they don't mature. Like they're still in the nursery until they're 50. So that's how he did it. He's like, oh, well, you don't really mature into an adult until like 50, you're a young teen. And then, by the time you hit like 100, you're like, okay, now you kind of get the thing of adulthood. And
that's what my vampires are. Like they're at around 80 is when they start looking for a partner.
Yeah.
Because that's when they're reaching like their 20s.
Yeah. See, this makes more sense to me. Because if you're going to live that long, you would have a longer adolescence, I would think.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it depends on the lore for sure. So with all these books that you have in your trunk, you've got several books already written. When you sit down to write a book, how does that work for you? What gets your creative juices flowing and you plot them out or write as you go?
I plot out the book, 1 or 2 sentences per chapter. Sometimes there's more. Like I literally just wrote 3 chapters that were very much more discovery writing this past week. He does something to make the villain jealous. She does something to make the villain jealous. The villain is jealous. Those were 3 different chapters I had to write.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? And so I had to figure it out in the spot.
Yeah.
But then there was another chapter that I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I sometimes don't always do what I've outlined in the chapter, but I still always manage to get to where I thought I was going.
Nice.
So I haven't had anything completely go off the rails. The characters take me on totally unrelated side adventures. So it definitely follows the plot, but every now and then I go back and I read a description of what the chapter is supposed to be about. And I was like, the chapter has nothing to do with that.
It happens.
And so, I sit down and in an hour or 2, I can have a whole book plotted.
Nice.
And this is something I will often do when I get my new ideas. This summer, somehow I got ideas for 3 new series. And I had to sit down and wrote out notes about what I knew, plot points that really popped out to me. Then I can set it aside.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, how are you storing those ideas?
That's a great question. Right now, I use Scrivener for my first drafts. And I am making a new Scrivener file for each series.
Okay.
So currently, for my big chunky Mavens books, each book has its own Scrivener. But for my nice little matchmaker books, I'm actually doing the whole series in one Scrivener.
Okay.
So each book is its own folder.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of having a series Scrivener to hold things. And then I have a PowerPoint that I tried to make writing diagrams when I was figuring out my writing process to try to plan when I was going to publish things. But one of the slides is just a list of the series or books.
Gotcha. That's good.
So it's a
Yeah.
PowerPoint slide.
Nice. I do all my writing in Scrivener too, but I don't really use it for any of the planning or plotting. And I feel like I should utilize those aspects of it more. But I have all these
I
other
don't use
weird
it for any of the
processes.
editing.
Yeah. No, neither do I. No.
Yeah.
But I don't do any
have it
plotting
and I
plotting
use
in there
it
either.
for poetry.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
I love Scrivener for drafting. Like it's perfect for
Yeah.
drafting. It's so clean and distraction free, and there's no AI and there's no crap they're throwing at you. It's just, you know, right here. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I've thought about using it, but it's so overwhelming to me because there's so many bells and whistles of things it can do.
Yeah. But you don't
that
have to.
it
I use
makes
it. You don't need them.
You don't need them? Okay. Yeah. Because I actually, what I do is I write it episodically for my Ream account. I write my episode in my Google Doc, but I erase the previous episode that I'm not working on and I move it into a Word document. And so I'm not working in the Word document. I'm working in the Google Doc and I just do a little bit and transfer every day. And
That's really funny.
yeah, it's not efficient.
Everyone has their own process though, you know. So you gotta find what
It
works for
works.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It barely works. So that's what we're doing. And that's what I'm going to keep doing.
Okay. Keep at it.
Yeah. So in these sessions, either when you are drafting the new book and doing that outline or actually sitting down and doing the discovery writing within those chapters, do you have to have certain vibes that you need in order to write?
I am a person who is very prone to being like, I have to start on the first of the month. I have to, I'm very prone to that. So I actually, from day one, when I started writing, explicitly went into, I am not starting any sort of habit that will prevent me from writing.
Okay.
So I don't have to have tea. I like to have tea. I have to have a drink of some sort. It can be water.
Yeah.
I don't have to be at my desk. I don't have to be writing in my bed. I can write in any sort of location. I don't need music. If I'm in the zone, I can write in a cafe, no headphones needed. I can write in complete silence. I've really worked on making sure there are no habits.
Nice.
And you've been able to maintain this? Oh my gosh. How do you do that? Because I get annoyed if somebody sits in my chair at the cafe. I'm like, no, this is where I sit on Saturdays. This is my chair.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, I have been able to maintain it. Yeah, just always keeping in mind I recently started Invisalign, which affects my tea intake, which is when I realized in the mornings, if I'm writing, I normally do it with tea. And I kind of had to be like, okay, we're adjusting. That was starting to become a habit. And so now, I do need something to drink.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
Gotta stay hydrated.
it doesn't have to be my hot tea.
Yeah.
As for the editing process, once you get through the writing process, you said you have a more trad-like outlook on editing. So can you tell us about that process?
So I am currently in the throes of figuring out when my next books are going to come out. And I'm finding this very difficult because it's so hard to time and figure out when you're going to be finished. Now, I say that, and for my Mavens, for my Demon Sandwich, for my Cozy Mystery, the next books are all actually written.
Oh, okay.
They're all drafted. 2 of them are back from the editors, and I still can't decide on a date. So some of this comes through. So I draft it. I do at least one read through to catch the worst of things and fill in things that I discovered as I wrote. And then I give it to my critique partners, and they kind of do more of a developmental edit. So they'll have the whole book and they'll read through. I love this. I hate this. Just to be clear, am I supposed to hate this character? Because I do. And sometimes they're not supposed to hate that character at all. Or I get a lot of comments of like, you have a lot of words in this sentence. I'm a little wordy. And once I get that back from my critique partners, which is a longer process than some people might allot for that, I then do changes that they recommend. And so Right now it takes about a year from the time I finish writing to when I actually give it to an editor that I've paid. And then I get the feedback back from the editor and I go through what I call the duh edits, the ones that you just are like, obviously, accept.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go through and do like the 5-minute edits. And then I go back through and do like the larger edits. But I also do editing passes where I have a checklist that I sit next to me. Like, did the character react to what happened around them? If they were injured in a previous chapter, are they still injured?
Mm.
Do they have emotions? Did you use the 5 senses? Can you?
Yeah,
And
seriously.
sometimes those will be individual edits if it's a shorter book, or sometimes I'll sit and I'll work through an edit for one chapter and then I'll sit there with each question and look at the chapter. And so that takes me a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I did add a proofreader to the process to actually proofread at the end. And by the time I give it to the proofreader, it's formatted. I think it's done. And it's so far hasn't been too bad. Not that many corrections, but, from having drafted it, having finished drafting it, it's often a year before, not a year, 2 years, 2 years before it's
Oh, wow.
published. So
wow.
for example, I just in the last month got book 3 of the Mavens back from my editor.
Okay.
This summer, I have been writing next August, book 4 will go to the editor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in between, I'm always working on something. And that's one of the reasons my mystical matchmaker came up, is because I really like to write, and editing is very draining for me. And so these are palate cleansers because I can write one of these in 2 to 3 weeks, but they get pushed out in my schedule because they're just filling in.
Yeah.
And so when they come out, I have to figure out, release schedules. And
For sure.
the only book I actually have up for well, that's not true. Technically, Vampire Loop is up for pre-order because it comes out in less than a month. But otherwise, I have my Cozy Mystery up, but I don't have any others, even though they're written.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Do you ever think that you would move away from that system? Like, I'm thinking specifically, I used to do critique groups, but the problem is with how much I write each week and then how much I could give, because we would do it in like weekly sessions of like how much I could give my critique partners of only 3,000 to 5,000 words, that it just wasn't moving through the book fast enough. Do you ever think you would change out your critique partners? Because I switched to hiring a developmental editor because she can get it done for me in 2 to 3 weeks.
Or even beta readers
really-
too. They do kind
Yeah.
of similar function.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I
had to
like your process,
consider.
but I'm just curious. Yeah.
I've had to consider what speed I'm going to do and how I'm going to handle it.
Mhm.
And I haven't come to an answer because there are times when I would like to speed it up. Because of the format that I do with my critique partners, we will give each other entire books.
Okay.
Like, that's how we do it. So it is, sometimes I think of them almost as alpha readers, but it's still generally like we do like 3 chapters for each critique meeting, or we skip the critique meetings altogether and just give the feedback. And
Is that 3 chapters per week or 3 chapters once a month, or how often do you meet?
it depends on what we're doing and deadlines. So the last time I gave them a full book, I asked for it back in 3 months, and it's 45 chapters, and they're all, closer to 3,000 word chapters, 2,000 to 3,000 words, because my books are like 120K for my Maven series. And that was, if anyone's having trouble editing their book, I highly recommend writing something shorter and learning how to edit on that, because I'd written my book 1, Touchy Talents, and I needed a reader magnet. And I failed at my first reader magnet and wrote a cozy mystery. And then the second time I failed again and wrote a family moment that's amazing that I'll give to readers eventually when it's time. And then I finally wrote my actual reader magnet, and learning to edit on my novella Cozy Mystery and on my magnet told me how to scale my editing process for
Yeah.
120K, because 40K is way easier to edit
Mhm.
than 120 for your first
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so okay. That's fascinating. I think that's good advice. Yeah. Learn on something smaller and then
Definitely.
scale
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have been seeing a lot of authors, indie authors, get picked up and go trad with their books. Is this something that you are ever considering doing?
I would with the right series. So I, like all authors, I have just this list of books I want to write. And
Mhm.
some of them I think are more trad friendly. And so I
Mhm.
would consider doing them that route. But I actually never even queried my Mavens or thought about taking it trad because I just loved the world so much. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes they get the rights to your world
Mhm.
in the deal,
Yeah.
and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I think with a series where it's really just that series, or,
Mhm.
or I have like a YA epic fantasy in the trunk, and that's something that could probably benefit from a trad deal.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm
YA is
just
always
thinking
good.
too, because like, yeah, because too, if that's your editing process, it does sound trad like. So it feels like it'd be an easier transition for you versus some other indie authors that I've talked to about their process. So
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of changing things up from trad to indie, what about genres? Do you ever see yourself leaving paranormal romance, or have you written other books that are not paranormal, or is it something you're going to stay in long term?
I think that paranormal romance will always be something that I write, but it's not going to be the only thing. I have some contemporary romance ideas that I am really excited to do. My very first romance is a contemporary, a bit romantic suspense, a bit just classic contemporary. So I definitely have paranormal ideas, contemporary ideas. I have a book or two that is just fantasy with romantic elements. And so, yeah, I definitely am going to branch out. I don't know if I will branch out of romance and fantasy, though.
Mhm.
I mean, I even have a sci-fi and I came up with this summer that I'm like, oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, seriously.
So, yeah, I do a little bit of magic in my worlds a lot of the time.
Mhm.
I think we have the same problem. Too many ideas, right? Because I have ideas all across the spectrum too. Fantasy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm always getting in trouble with my editor about it because I'll send her like random ideas and she's like, okay, but did you finish this last idea? And I'm like, no. And she's like, so then you can't do the new one yet, can you? And I'm like, fine. Can I at least have ice cream while I write this? I'm like a pouty child.
I've
Yeah,
been
hilarious.
I'm
really
like, so
good
look, it's
about
so fun.
I've been really good about setting it to the side. I sit down, I write out 2,000 words or whatever to get it out of my system, and then it's back to it.
That's smart.
Nice.
That's smart. Yeah. And then, too, I saw a while back, I don't know that we ever actually talked about it, that you actually went to the Los Angeles Times Book Festival, right?
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us about this? Because, I mean, it looks fantastic, and I've seen it, and I would love to go.
Well, I won a spot at the RWA table for a book
Okay.
signing. So the Romance
Cool.
Writers of America. And to enter the raffle to win, I didn't even have to be a member.
Wow.
It was open to anyone. And they were 2-hour signing slots.
Okay.
And I had never done a signing before, so it was my first signing.
That's a big
Oh
one.
my
for a first
gosh.
one.
That's a way to begin. Yeah.
And so, I had the best nervous energy possible. And I was a first slot in the morning, but didn't quite get there as early as I wanted. So I had 15 minutes to set up my table.
Wow.
Oh my.
And so I'm setting up the table and it's almost time for my slot to begin and things to be officially open, but it's outdoor. So people are already there.
Mhm.
So I'm not even fully set up. And I'm like, I'm going to be doing this for the next 2 hours. And I just drove an hour to get here.
Yeah.
I literally jogged through the festival to find a bathroom and then jogged back. And by the time I came back, my table had been like mostly set up. My husband had strategically put up my character art, figured out how to make everything stand up for the first time, and had it all set up for me. It was probably like 75%, but he did that last 25, like visually appealing.
Nice.
And it was amazing. I had so much fun. So many people came by and I got to talk to people. Someone who bought my book, they bought my book and then their friend came over and was like, "Oh, what are you buying? Do I need to get a copy too?" And she turned to her friend and said, "This book has a 4.8 on Goodreads." And her friend was like, "I will buy a copy." And I was like, "You researched me before you came up to buy my book.
Nice.
This is so cool."
So cool. Oh my gosh.
But I have like 2-foot tall character art that I stand up on the table
Mm-hmm.
for my free reader magnet. I have the 2 characters with a little arrow pointing down with a QR code. So people don't even have to talk to me if they don't want to. They can grab the free book and try it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Smart.
it was so much fun.
Love it.
Oh my
Thanks.
God. Is it something that you think you would do again and that you would maybe either partner with another bookstore or get
I'm definitely looking into doing more events. Coming up, I am going to be at Reader Nation in Vegas in November. But otherwise, exploring more options is where I really need to, focus some of my time because I definitely want to do more signings. I had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if there's opportunities to jump in on a table like I did, that would be fantastic. Some of them I've been a little daunted by the price of the table going in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the reasons it was so lucky to get a spot at the Los Angeles Festival of Books because it's so big. I wouldn't necessarily have sprung for a table for the entire weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking into other events because it was really fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know I started, Nikki, I can't remember your first event that you did for a signing, but I know my first signings were a lot of smaller in town artist markets.
Yep.
So then it's a lower entrance fee to get in. And then it's close to my house. So it's 20 minutes away. I paid just a little bit of money. And I actually found a friend and I was like, "Hey, do you want to split this 10 by 10 spot with me?" So then that made it even cheaper. And just so that I could practice my pitch and hone it and really get more comfortable being in front of people.
Yeah, that was same for me. And my very first one was a local, that was the West Avenue Cider one that I was at a couple weeks ago. That was my very first one 5 years ago, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a paranormal author, one of my challenges with pitches is I love the world I built. And I will pitch you the world, but I didn't really pitch you the book. Yeah, I think even this whole time we've talked, I haven't even mentioned that my big chunky Maven series are paranormal romantic suspense. It's not just a paranormal shifter book, but like I've said, there's so much plot. There's suspense, there's things, there's danger. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. You have your whole book in your head, but then you had condensing it down to just the elevator pitch or whatever it is that people want, the tropes. It's difficult for sure.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Some authors are really good at it. I think they are the ones that do amazing at signing events. I'm okay at it sometimes, but it really depends, right?
Yeah.
Albie's good
And one
at it.
thing that we did as a side thing as we walked around after my signing, because then, I got to visit the festival, was we took the sign with the arrow saying free paranormal romance with a QR code and put it in the backpack. And
cute.
so it's an arrow pointing down. And so walking around, people would stop and take a picture, ask about it.
Smart.
Even though I wasn't at a table.
Nice. Love that.
That's, yeah. Oh my
Okay.
God.
So you're not talking about your books enough, but getting back to your books, one of the things that you said readers know you for is your hidden Easter eggs. Did you plan these before you started publishing, or were they an accident? And then you just started doing it intentionally?
So there's a mix. Some are happy accidents. In Touchy Talents, my very first book, movie that's in my cozy mystery, because it's a movie that people go and see, is something that the characters make out during. So you get to jump back in time to when the movie came out in the cozy mystery. And so that was like a happy accident. Like I needed a story. And so I looked into that. And then sometimes I will purposely plot something. So plan something. So, if one of my characters is reading a book, I mean, they're reading one of my books in a different world. I wrote a short story for an anthology that I'm going to eventually make into its own novella, probably. But the characters in that book are in my shifter world, but someone got a demon sandwich from the library and they needed a little help reenacting the scene. And so very much the book is in there, and so there's that, but like a happy accident. I can't give away too many details because it plays out. But in the first book I wrote and released in the Mavens, Touchy Talents, there is a scene where someone is very, very excited about something they found and says, please let me take this for a future prank.
Okay.
And I may, in book 4, have just in the last few weeks written that scene that I have been dreaming about since like 2021. For the past 5 years, I've had this scene living rent free in my mind. And so as soon as I wrote that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what's going to happen. And so that was a type of Easter egg where it's a very happy accident. Emphasis on the happy.
Right. Love that. Love that.
I absolutely love that. Yeah. Same. Because I do the same thing to like make everything connected. That's the best way. Like have your characters read your stuff, have your characters watch the TV show you're going to put out later on. Like I absolutely love those Easter eggs.
Yeah. I've been told that like, a twist in my book will catch someone really off guard. And I'm like, the first time someone told me this, I was like, what twist? Because I had plotted it the whole time. They're like, you had all the right seeds. Like it was totally followed. I was just like, yeah, that's because it was always going to happen. But I also have other moments where my subconscious has written stuff into the book, into the same book for the foreshadowing. And I didn't go back. I didn't plan it. It just happened. And I'm like, my mind is wonderful.
Yeah, that one happens to me a lot too, for sure.
Yeah. Is there an Easter egg that you are most proud of?
Currently, it's that one that I put in book 1 with the prank that's going to happen. And so you have to get to book 4, which, currently is looking like it's going to come out in 2028 to get the full benefit.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. That's very
awesome.
fun. Something else you've mentioned before that you wanted your stories to convey to your readers is that it's okay to be a little different or even a little weird, which is, I think, pretty much what we all are as authors. I mean, it's hard not to be weird when you're living this kind of weird lifestyle. Is this a planned message or something you more unintentionally did, like you were talking about with your Easter eggs, sometimes unconsciously happen?
It definitely unconsciously happened. And I only identified it after several manuscripts. So the ones that I trunked also have these in it, but I didn't see it because I wasn't building it in. But it, makes complete sense. I was a foreign language major. I am trilingual. I've worked with, learning about different cultures. And, so often it's like, oh, these people seem different from us, but they really aren't, or fitting in is really hard. My book Shell Shocked with my turtle hybrid and Pomeranian hybrid. He's a turtle. He is one of the few hybrids whose shape changes a lot. He gets very big, and it's rare for them to have like too many carryover characteristics between forms or even in their form. Like even when they're shifted in their animal form, they're still very human. But he can't move fast. Like he can't run. He doesn't have the reflexes to drive a car. And so you can already see like how he might be having trouble fitting in growing up and issues. And then she is a cop. She is a cute, sexy Pomeranian hybrid, looks like a pinup girl, and she's a cop. She has problems with her fitting in too. And so like for their story, it's a big thing of finding acceptance that ended up being slightly more explicit than I knew it was going to be. So, I didn't find out how hard Neil's life was as a turtle hybrid until I was several chapters in, where I was like, oh wow, like this is thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that's fascinating. Yeah. I think a lot of authors have that where they have like not mottos, but maybe closer to taglines of what they do, but they don't realize it until they're multiple books deep and they're like
Yeah.
looking back and you're like, oh yeah, I guess this is a thing that I focus on. Let me change my
Yeah.
branding. Let me update. Yeah. For that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then talking about like things we do intentionally versus unintentionally. Like book tropes are so prevalent within the romance industry and the genre. Do you have a trope that's your favorite to write, or maybe one that you keep coming back to, and then you're like, oh no, I've already used this, so you have to try to find a different one, or you just use it anyways? Sorry, that's a lot of questions, I guess.
Yeah. I for my mystical matchmaker series, I'm trying to be a little more trope conscious than I have been in my Maven series, where often I'm looking for the tropes later. But I have noticed that I very consistently am a he falls first trope person.
Okay.
So I do have that trope all the time. It wasn't a mistake that my first book I published had the brother's best friend or best friend's little sister trope. That's one that I'm like, let's try to keep it once a series,
But
will probably come up in other series.
Yeah, it's a good
So
one. I love writing that.
those are some that like I gravitate towards.
Yeah, I like
Definitely.
that. Yeah.
So speaking of things we keep coming back to, and this is a question we ask every author that comes on. What is one question you'd like to ask readers? And then for everyone listening out there, we'll post this one on our Instagram to answer, or you can comment on the YouTube video.
Well, probably because it's just on my mind. I want to know what you guys are really looking for when you look at a cover. You know, what draws you to the cover? Is it the cool font? Is it the character? Is it, you know, there's such different types. Like, you know, currently I kind of have like a title-based cover for my Touchy Talents with a cool background. But would people be more into the character art? Like, what draws people when they're looking at the covers? What catches their eye first?
Yeah,
that's a great question.
That's a good one. That's such a hard question too, because it's like, you know, I think it's so
subjective
to people, subjective to the genre of expectations. That's a hard one. Yeah.
Well, and it's something as indie authors that we have to think a lot about because we hire our own cover artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they always ask us questions and we're like, I don't know. I can tell you their penis size, but I don't know what they look like. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the artist.
Yeah.
You just draw the person. I'll write in the details after.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do. Do that. Because I can't imagine, like, I can, like, frame out the scene, but, you know, I can imagine whatever I want, and I want you to imagine whatever you want. So I really do have my cover designer make the cover, and then I assign who's who, and then I just go in and I update in my edits.
Yeah, I don't even know the title normally till I'm done.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so hard. There's so much that goes into it. So I do have one more final question for you. If you could read any trope for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, at the beginning of the year, when I was listening to your podcast and I heard this, I had my answer. But this year, I've been doing a personal reading challenge to read indie authors, and I've come across the trope that I thought would be like the trope a few times and not been happy. So I have changed it, and I'm going to go with the he falls first.
Okay. That is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That always feels good.
It is good. Yeah.
That always feels good.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. And you can mix it and match it
just
really
like she's getting worshipped or, you know.
And it can go in all the different subgenres.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one.
It's good. I like it for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming out and letting us peek behind the curtain of your author life day. Before we forget, can you tell us what you're working on and when it will be released? Or you do have a couple things on pre-order and then a couple other things that you don't know when they're coming out yet, but which do you have up for pre-order right now?
Coming out next month is Vampire Lube, and I will have arcs going out just around the time this is being posted. So if you want an arc, let me know. And Then next year, I have book 2 of my cozy mystery coming out, Opposites Clash, and it has a romantic subplot. There's a couple that's going to the movies for their anniversary date in the second book, and in the first book, it was their first date. And you get to see the sequel to the movie with detectives, a little Castle-esque, there's tension, they're dating. And sometime next year, I will have book 3, Captured Crystals, coming out in my Mavens series. I don't have the exact date yet. I don't think I've even announced that title before, but now you know.
Yay! You heard it here first.
Title reveal exclusive.
Yeah.
Yay.
Was that the full question?
Yes. You did great.
Did you also ask me where to find it?
Yeah, where can we find it?
So, you can find my Pet Shifters, the Mavens, and the Opposites Collide in all stores. I'm wide, so you can find it anywhere. The Mystical Matchmaker series is in KU, so Amazon only, though Vampire Lube on the 1st of September will be available from my direct store before it goes into KU officially on the 8th. And I'm on Instagram. My author name, Deus Grant. My website is deusgrant.com. And those are the best places to find me, Instagram and my website. On my newsletter, if you want, I have a free pet shifter story where you'll get a nurse rabbit shifter.
Cute. Oh my God.
Love
Awesome.
it.
And
Love
we're going
it.
to post all those links in our show notes below too.
Yes, we will. Awesome. Thanks again. It was great talking to you. If there are any other questions our listeners feel like we missed, please drop them in the comments or post them on our Instagram. And it was great talking to you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Day. Thanks for getting dirty with us. If you had fun, leave a review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. New episodes will be released every Wednesday, and we've got an amazing lineup of authors to share with you.
If there's someone you'd love to see on our show, or you've got burning questions for your favorite authors, send us an email to backstagewiththebookbabes@gmail.com or leave us a comment on our social media accounts. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, Backstage with the Book Babes. Links and applications for authors to join us as guests are at linktree/Backstage with the Book Babes.
You can follow me, Albie Blake, with that handle on social media, specifically Instagram and TikTok.
You can follow me, Nikki Jewell, and learn about my books at authornikkijewell.com. I'm also on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at NikkiJewell_books.
Thanks again for joining the party. Keep turning those pages and keep it spicy.